What do prospects really mean when they say, we need to think about it? If you hear that often, it feels like a normal part of the process. It sounds reasonable. It sounds polite. It sounds like the deal is still alive. So you respond the way most MSPs do. No problem. Take your time. I will follow up. And just like that, you lose control of the deal. Because what sounds like interest is usually hesitation. What sounds like consideration is usually uncertainty. And what sounds like progress is usually a stall. Here's the reality. When a prospect says they need to think about it, they're not asking you for time. They're telling you something is not clear. Something doesn't feel resolved. Something doesn't feel certain. Something is holding them back. But instead of uncovering it, most MSPs step away. They exit the conversation at the exact moment they should be leaning in. And that is where deals disappear. Because once you leave that moment, you lose momentum. Now you are chasing instead of guiding, following up instead of leading, hoping instead of controlling. And the longer the gap gets, the colder the lead becomes. Until eventually it goes quiet. No response, no decision, no closure. Just another deal sitting in your pipeline. The problem is not the objection. The problem is how it's handled. Because that moment is where real conversation begins. This is where the truth shows up, but only if you stay in it, instead of backing off. You need to lean in with control, not pressure, not force, clarity. A simple question changes everything. What specifically do you need to think through? Now the conversation shifts, because now they need to answer. And when they do, you get the real reason. Budget concerns, timing issues, internal hesitation, uncertainty about the decision. Now you're no longer guessing. Now you have something real to work with. Now you can guide the conversation forward. Because once the concern is clear, you can address it. You can ask better questions. You can clarify what is missing. You can bring the conversation back to the problem. And that is where momentum comes back. Because most objections are not rejection, they're incomplete clarity. Something that was not fully understood. Something that was not fully owned. Something was not fully connected. And now it's showing up at the end. Most MSPs try to fix this later. Through follow-ups, through emails, through check-ins, but by then, the moment is gone. The urgency is gone. The attention is gone. The deal is fading. The MSPs that close consistently do not let that happen. They handle it in real time. They stay in control of the conversation. They treat the hesitation as a signal, not a stop. Because every prospect hesitates. They are giving you an opening, an opportunity to go deeper, to clarify, and to guide. When you handle that way, those moments stop killing deals and start moving them forward. So if you're hearing, we need to think about it too often, that is the signal. Not that prospects are not interested, but that something in the process was left unresolved. And that is where to focus. If you want to see how to handle these moments in real conversations, you can take a closer look at CharTec Academy or walk through it on a call. Sometimes one question at the right time changes the entire outcome. And in the next video, we're going to break down closing and why it should never feel like pressure when the process is done right.